Whoops, I forgot to hit record for the third AA weapon. It really wasn't that bad.
Show is on.
Found a warthog over
Radio
here.
Talk Network.
Drove all the way up. The light was
We are back.
The lift was already
here
up.
with you
I hit it, and then I just jumped right down.
And we are
there's
joined
no bad
by
guys
Steve
here.
McKinley. He is the Atlantic Canada correspondent at the Toronto
Whoops.
Star.
That's a
Steve,
bummer.
welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Jamil. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How are you? Are we catching you in Atlantic Canada right now?
Yes, I'm just outside of Halifax.
This level is absolutely
Thanks for
stunning.
making time to. Yes, well, thanks for taking time to chat with us, Steve. You know, I think when a lot of Canadians outside of Atlantic Canada see some of the headlines that have been coming out over the last few weeks concerning Indigenous land rights claims and potential court cases, or in this case, really what seems to be more, a public commentary on the issue.
That's bad news bears right there.
We may lack some of the context that's happening in Atlantic Canada. So I think that's would be a great place for us to start. You know, you see this headline from the
Chief,
Star that says, "You're on our
well,
land."
a lot.
Say 6 First
See that
Nations
chopper?
as they put
I guess that's one of the
Irving
Spartan
and other
Killers.
big companies on
And there's
notice.
the other one.
What is happening in Atlantic
Up there,
Canada
in the
that seems to
wreckage.
be producing more
You need
of
to
these
stop them.
headlines concerning Indigenous land claims?
I don't know why it's happening here quite so much. I think that with the liberal government touting the Truth and Reconciliation initiatives, that these are, I think, get a lot more attention than they would in 4 or 5 years. What's happening here is sort of an addendum to that was
Oh, Jesus.
where the list were
Wow, that's really crappy.
a large chunk of New Brunswick, about 60% of the land of New Brunswick, which was their traditional land.
So this, I
Oh,
guess,
and I'm way back
notice
here.
that's been given to some of the big companies out east from 6 First Nations. Where does this come out of nowhere to you, or is there a kind of a longer backstory to this?
A little bit of both, actually.
Okay.
It's the actual notion itself, the actual motion itself caught, I think, a lot of people by surprise, including the Premier yesterday. He said he was just hearing about it for the first time in the afternoon, and he didn't have the details yet about it. One of the impacts that it has is that it leaves forestry companies, and forestry is obviously a huge industry in New Brunswick, and it touches on a lot of lives. And it also names Irvings in particular.
We've got
the Irvings
a lot.
They have companies
See
all
that
over
chopper?
New Brunswick.
I guess that's one of the Spartan
They're
Killers.
huge presence.
And there's the other one. Up there, in the wreckage.
In the province.
You need to stop
And
them.
What this new notice is asking for is it's asking for particular plots of land owned by these forestry companies back. They want to reclaim that, and they're also seeking compensation from the government for all the profits that have been taken from that land over the past years, decades.
Oh my God.
200 years is what they tapped. The rationale being that the Wolastoqey hold Aboriginal title to that land. The Crown did not have the right to sell off that land to these corporations. Now, they made a point to saying that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They've also made a point too saying that they want the land
Oh, what the
not necessarily going to stop forestry there. They want to work with the companies to manage that land and to manage that forestry.
Now, do you think that this is the beginning of what could be a bigger trend across the country? You know, for me as a Canadian who's not in Atlantic Canada, as most of our listeners are, we probably look at this and say, first we saw, you know, an example of the New Brunswick government stopping the use of land acknowledgements for government meetings and events because of litigation between the New Brunswick government and a First Nation.
We've got
and now we see this example of 6 First Nations coming together.
I guess that's one of the Spartan Killers.
You know, big
and there's the other one.
Atlantic Canada.
Up there in the wreckage.
Is this a trend that
you need to stop
could
them.
potentially be, you know, making waves in other parts of the country, or is this kind of an isolated phenomenon to Atlantic Canada?
No, I think this is going to have ramifications throughout the country, but it might take a while to play out. The leader said, you know, they're figuring out before the decade record, and they're willing to push through with that. The big issue that has to be kind of looked at here is what exactly is by Aboriginal title rights. Aboriginal title, and that is a pretty complex legal definition, which I think the courts will have to make some kind of decision on. I think this is very carefully because that's the constitution for
I'm curious to see, Steve, and I wonder if you have any insights into this, is what will these companies sort of be doing in so if we look at J.D. Irving, for example, will we start to see some of these corporations maybe be more vocal about their view on, you know, their relationship with First Nations? Do you think they'll be starting to pay, you know, PR folks and others to create a counter narrative to this, or are they going to just try to kind of run away from this, hoping that, you know, not too many people pay attention?
It might be early to say on that in particular. And I suspect that
Chief,
they might sort of keep their powder dry for a bit.
See that chopper? I guess that's one of the Spartan Killers.
Premier Blaine
and there's the other one.
Premier Blaine Higgs
up there in the wreckage.
Started creating
you need to stop them.
Narrative. He had a press conference today in which he basically said the sky is falling and that plane would affect everything about New Brunswick. And he said, just on his phrase, about it does kind of products. Unprecedented. And both are true. But he has not, he doesn't know or acknowledge the difference between the portion of land that the Wolastoqey are looking for Aboriginal title for and the portion of land that they would like to reclaim. Now, the latter is these countries that they would make in specific plots. The claim they put forth is 657 pages long. And there's pages identified PIDs. I forget what the last thing is. Specific lots that they would like to reclaim. And the Wolastoqey say, these are the lands we want to reclaim. We're not going after regular New Brunswickers' land. We don't want that. We just want these lands. We want compensation for the government for the exploitation of those lands. Higgs now is saying that, well, they're asking for, you know, the land from these companies now. What's the fact that we're asking to reclaim 60% of the province? And after that, it was kind of a strange narrative. She's almost introduced saying that indigenous people going after
I think you made him mad. Reinforcements inbound.
That's great. That's just great. Get up there.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Stephen Kinley from the Toronto Star. Coming up next, there's a new buzzword being used to legitimate criticism. Find out what it is coming up next.
Hi, it's Leslie Roberts from CTV Morning Live. The Ottawa Food Bank, through their network of member agencies, supports tens of thousands of people every. Gather your friends and colleagues to raise money and join the CTV Live Holiday Help Food Drive on Thursday, December 6th.
Oh, come on, man.
Time of year for families in need and every little bit helps. For full details on how you can help and to donate on the day, visit ctvottawamorning.ca. Proudly sponsored by Doyle Saluski and Box Me Up.
That
Our future
nonsense all
looks
over
great,
again.
Jackie.
Great.
With the available FX4 off-road package on my Ford Ranger, I'm going wherever the road may take me.
Not me. I'm staying on the job site with my F-150 with available Pro Power on board.
Well, look at us,
Just two girls,
with two awesome trucks.
built for a bright future ahead.
Order the future
Chief,
today
we've
and
got-
get a factory order
well, a
bonus on
lot.
select new 2022
See that
F-150
chopper?
and all new
I guess that's one of the
2022
Spartan
Ranger
Killers.
models. For details,
And there's the
contact
other
your Ford
one.
dealer of Ottawa or visit
Up there, in the
Ford.ca.
wreckage. You need to stop them.
Unwrap more at the Rogers Wrapped in Red event on now. Like the phone that tops every wish list. Unwrap the superpower of Apple products with the iPhone 13, featuring the most advanced dual camera system ever. Get iPhone 13 for as low as $5 a month for 24 months. Eligible trade-in with financing and upfront edge on select plans. Visit a Rogers store or Rogers.com today.
How Bell makes gift-giving better.
The holidays. People decking the halls and roasting chestnuts on an open fire. But nothing beats the feeling of giving awesome gifts. Gifts you can find at Bell, like phones, smartwatches, earbuds, and more. All at great prices and with plans with tons of share the day.
Man.
Overage charges on
Check out our amazing offers today. Visit bell.ca/holiday for details. Bell, gifting just got better.
If you don't have Crave, you're missing out on the biggest hit movies for the whole family. The entire Harry Potter film series. Final battle. Relive the magic with the entire Harry Potter film series. Now streaming, only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Lottery license number RAF1215948. 5050 license number RAF1215947. Get your tickets in Chio's Dream of a Lifetime Lottery. The $3.1 million grand prize package includes the fully furnished, exquisite Minto
Chief,
Dream Home in Manitou.
we've got-
Plus, you can win cars,
well, a lot.
cash, a designer room makeover,
See that
and more.
chopper?
Don't miss
I
out
guess
on the
that's one of the
50/50
Spartan
drop with a
Killers.
jackpot over
And
$1.3
there's the other
million
one.
and growing. Book
Up
your
there, in the
in-person
wreckage.
tour of the Minto Dream Home
You need
or
to
buy
stop
a
them.
ticket at dreamofalifetime.ca or call 722-KIDS. Live the dream
bastards.
and help the little ones at Chio.
Is the most wonderful for some people. For others, those Christmas lights may not shine so bright. Like families who can't afford to
Watch
put
out,
Christmas
Chief.
dinner
He's calling
on
in
the table.
backup.
Last year, almost 20,000 people
The heck?
asked for help with the Caring and Sharing Exchange's Christmas Exchange program. So let's join together and make sure that nobody goes hungry this holiday. Most of all, let's give the gift of hope and dignity. Donate today. Visit caringandsharing.ca.
This is a message from Verify and the United Nations. Whether we miss doing this, or this, we all want to get back to something. And if we work together to ensure everyone everywhere around the world has access to COVID-19 vaccines, then we can. Only together can we end the pandemic. And then, together, we can all
This past year has been challenging, with many of us facing unexpected expenses, lost wages, and rising credit card debt. We all need a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your finances. But guess what? You're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. Half a million Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you. With Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada, they are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country. They're an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They can help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-288-4991. That's 1-800-288-4991. Let Consolidated Credit help you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-288-4991. Make the call today. Toll free. 1-800-288-4991.
despite whatever criticism is made. And the reality is that over the last 5 years, it's become increasingly common for people who stand up for the right thing to be smeared with the use of identity politics. To be called racist, homophobe, transgender, misogynist. I mean, frankly, at this point, they haven't been called racist. You might not have taken enough good positions when it comes to politics. Because it is now a common way to scare people from standing up for and frankly to silence the masses of us from standing up for ourselves.
You can do better than that, Spartan. You are
you know, people don't like being called those things.
That
And so
wasn't
they will
easy, was it?
avoid in many ways
What if Eshram sends
saying
more?
what they truly believe. They will
Echo
avoid
216.
standing up for their own
Nothing.
values
But I think I can.
out of fear of
Yes.
these words.
Comms
being
are
thrown
still
at you.
offline, but I was able to activate his tracking beacon remotely.
Well, there's a new word, a new term.
He's out in the open.
That
The UNSC ship
let's say,
graveyard.
I don't even know what to call them anymore.
hope he's
You know, it's
okay.
like every week there's a new term for this kind of class of elitist activism. Sometimes I call them woke liberals. Let's go with woke liberals.
I can't go with no
I
weapons.
recognize none of these terms are perfect. The woke liberals at the University College of London, UCLA, and Northwestern University have published a new research paper in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. And what they have argued, essentially, is, in my view, an attack on white people and an attack on Christian people.
My eyes
Not all
didn't
white
deceive me
people are
back there.
Christian, not all Christian people are
We
white,
need to
but they're
go.
attacking both
3
groups.
UNSC Condors. Seeing one is rare.
Basically, what they
Finding
have tried
3
to do is
is miracle.
suggest that if you are called a
Should've known
racist,
better.
if you are called a
Torn
sexist
apart.
or a homophobe,
Completely
if someone
got it.
throws one of these terms at you
Sleep space drives obliterated.
and
We don't
you
have the
reject
time.
it,
Over
and you
there's
say,
another.
no, I'm not a racist, and you try to
Shattered,
defend yourself,
cratered
no,
over a
I'm not a
kilometer.
sexist, no, I'm not a homophobe,
And
and you
there,
try to actually defend
last
yourself
one.
against these kind of
All of
accusations.
it.
The new term that these
Broken.
professors are pushing
Beaten.
is
Useless.
digressive
Enough.
victimhood.
When is it enough, Chief? When we're in there?
Digressive.
Because that's where I belong. In there.
Basically,
With
they
them.
are coming up with new language, ladies and gentlemen, to make you feel self-conscious
All
for
this
defending
junk.
yourself against accusations
Not
that
this.
you are not woke enough.
I'm not
Essentially creating this bizarre circular form of reasoning where they get to call
I'm
you
not
a
a
racist
pilot.
or a homophobe.
I'm
You
not even
say,
a
"No, I'm
soldier,
not."
a Marine.
And they say, you're playing the victim.
Fraud.
Yeah.
I stole that
It's
Pelican.
about as silly
I
as it
stole
sounds.
it. You know why?
Essentially, what they're doing is creating a justification to call anybody any of these terms.
Have you ever been scared?
And if you're called these
So
terms and you
scared that
defend
you-
yourself, now you're the bad guy. What? Like. But this is where it's going. Now, the professors at these universities
I'm worthless.
said that they gave examples, by the way. And the examples they gave is that Christians who do not like being called homophobic
You
are
should leave me
playing
here with the
role
rest of the
victim.
carpets.
And white Americans
We all fail.
who do not like to be called racist
We
are
all
playing the
make
role of
mistakes.
victim. Essentially suggesting people just
What
accept
makes us
whatever
human.
smears
I'm sorry,
are
Chief, but how have you ever failed?
It's very bizarre stuff. What I
I
find so
should have
fascinating
protected
about it too
Cortana.
is they put all of this in
Stopped
all this,
everything from going wrong.
academic language to make
I
it sound
failed her.
smart. You know?
I will not
Digressive
fail you.
victim. Portraying themselves as victims of discrimination. Members of
Wait.
dominant groups counter accusations of it's just
We're going to make it.
really what it comes down
We
to
have
is,
to.
we want to
This
call
is
you
all
what we
I've
want
got.
to call you, and you have to take
It's
it.
all we need. Our
They got all
only way
these
home
fancy
is straight through
words
the
and all
heart
this
of the
university
need
seminar
you.
lingo But really, the main point they like to make
can
is
fix this.
we're gonna call you what we want to
Together.
call you, and you have to take it. Well, I'm not going to take it, and I frankly encourage everyone else not to take it either.
Together.
You shouldn't just get smears thrown at you and accept it. That's just silly. It's goofy. It's a serious way to live your life.
What's the plan? Let me
And yet
guess.
this stuff is being peddled by
It's
universities.
dangerous
like
and
it's
it's
acceptable.
probably going to get us killed.
No, not to me.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Now, what's interesting about this is that
I
it's
have my
relevant to
answer.
something that came up in the news today concerning our Prime Minister.
Let's do this.
Because of his whole blackface hobby, because that might be relevant. I mean, given that he's a... He might be someone where you have some evidence to call him a racist. Just saying, there might be some evidence to call him a racist, but no. Justin Trudeau
are losing
is
control.
defamation.
Nothing is lost.
Deploy your
Says
army.
that she
Descend
was
upon
called a
him.
racist by him unfairly.
No! Odds will not
She made
break
some
him.
comments. This is back in
The Spartan is not alone. There's something
The
here
Prime Minister's
helping
giving a
him.
speech south of
Connected
Montreal.
to this installation.
And this lady interrupted him, making comments about
It's
illegal
remarkably
immigrants.
vulnerable, but
And
highly
Justin Trudeau
intelligent.
interrupted her and called her a racist.
Is it a weakness? Something to
And so she
exploit?
sued him for
We will
defamation
see.
because it was on video and lots of
The
people saw
Reformation
it,
is
it was
controlled
viral.
from
And
this
of course,
spire.
woke liberals love putting that kind of stuff
Must
out there
be
to virtue
protected.
signal. So it got seen by a lot of people.
Done.
But the judge voted in favor of the Prime Minister.
Patriarchs believed
Quebec
you to
Superior
be
Court judge dismissed
valuable.
this lady's
Prove
defamation suit against the Prime Minister.
When the endless
So,
are found,
you know, look,
and when you
whether
have
he
your
should
ring,
dismissed the lawsuit or
then
not, I don't
you
know.
will never
I don't know
question
all
my
the details
worth,
of this
and
case,
I
frankly,
will
as a
never
lawyer,
question your
I'm
judgment.
very sensitive to the need to know all the details before giving an opinion on the legal issue. But what I will say to you is that these terms are being increasingly weaponized for political reasons.
I need
I
something
mentioned this
of
to you on
you,
the show
old
before.
friend.
Last year, Donald Trump does a travel ban, and he's called
Reign
racist by
the
everyone.
Master Chief.
This year, Joe Biden does a travel ban. Justin Trudeau does a travel ban. They're not called racists. Why? Because of politics. So if this terminology, calling people a racist, calling people a homophobe, calling people a sexist, if these terms are going to be weaponized for politics, then why should you just accept them whenever they're brought up? Shouldn't some reasoning, some evidence, some argumentation follow? If these terms are going to be used to influence
All right, I'm
power,
gonna stop this one and get the next
push
one set
people
up.
around,